The millionaire pretended he was leaving on a trip, but what he saw between the housekeeper and his daughters left him stunned. He turned off the bedroom lights, placed his suitcase in the trunk, hugged his daughters goodbye a little longer than usual, and got into the car. The driver pulled out through the gates of the estate at 10:17 p.m., but the plane never took off. In fact, the plane was never the destination. Instead of heading to the airport, Rafael Montero told the driver to turn at the first corner and stop at the service entrance in the back of his own mansion. He came in through the garage, walked up the staff hallway, and went straight to a room no one in the house even knew existed. It was a small locked room with an electronic keypad where the monitoring panel for more than 60 security cameras throughout the property was installed. Rafael sat down in front of the screens, folded his arms, and waited because Vanessa had planted a seed of doubt in his mind. It had all started 3 weeks earlier. Vanessa was his fiancée, an architect, blonde, elegant, the kind of woman who filled a room just by walking into it. She came into Rafael's life 2 years after the death of Sonia, the girl's mother. She had been so careful, so patient, that he ended up believing she was a gift from fate. But in recent months, Vanessa had started saying little things, small things, always in the tone of someone who sounded concerned. "Rafael, have you noticed how Claudia acts around the girls? I think she's getting too attached, you know. That's not normal. Today I saw the safe open. It wasn't me and it wasn't the children." Claudia was the woman who had cared for Isabella and Letitia for 4 years. She was discreet, polite, always there whenever they needed her. The girls called her by her name. They did not call her aunt and they did not call her a second mother, but when they had a fever, she was the one who stayed awake. When they had a nightmare, she was the first one to appear. And now the doubt had entered Rafael the way water slips into a crack, small, silent, but growing. That was why he staged the fake trip. That was why he turned to the cameras. He sat in front of the screens for nearly 40 minutes. On the first cameras, there was nothing but ordinary life. Claudia talking to the cook, the girls taking their baths, Vanessa in the bedroom scrolling through her phone. And then something changed. The moment Rafael's footsteps disappeared through the garage, Vanessa walked out of the bedroom. Her posture was different, stripped of the polished elegance she always wore so carefully. Her shoulders were squared, her jaw tight, and her walk had the energy of someone finally freed from a role she was tired of playing. She crossed into the main living room with an expression Rafael had never seen before. "For today, I don't have to pretend anymore," she muttered to herself, unaware that 13 cameras were recording every inch of her movement. Rafael leaned closer to the monitors. In the living room, Isabella and Letitia were finishing a puzzle on the rug, 6 and 8 years old, hair just like their late mother's, eyes that had inherited their father's caution. Vanessa stepped into the room. Isabella looked up. Letitia did not. She kept working on the puzzle, her little eyes fixed on the pieces. "What are you doing in here?" Vanessa asked, but it wasn't really a question. It was impatience dressed up to sound polite. "We're doing the puzzle," Isabella answered softly. "It's late," Vanessa said, without even looking at them. "Go to your room." "But Claudia said we could stay up until 10. "I didn't ask what Claudia said." Claudia came in through the kitchen doorway, carrying a cup of tea. When she saw the scene, she stopped. "Sorry, Vanessa. That was my decision. It was they just got out of the bath." Vanessa turned her head slowly. "I didn't ask for your opinion." The room went silent. Letitia still had not looked at Vanessa. In the monitoring room, Rafael felt his chest tighten. Claudia set the cup down on the side table. "Come on, girls, I'll take you upstairs." "Let her go too," Vanessa said coldly, motioning with her chin toward Isabella. "I'll stay with Daddy." The sentence from Isabella came out simple, direct, and without drama, the way children deliver truth. Vanessa turned toward her with that expression adults know how to hide, and children know how to feel. "Daddy isn't here," Vanessa replied slowly. "He's traveling." Isabella said nothing. She looked back down at the puzzle, her neck bent low. In the monitoring room, Rafael watched Claudia look at Isabella. then at Vanessa, and do what women of real character do when powerful people mistreat the small and defenseless. She stood her ground. "They can stay a little longer," Claudia said, with the kind of calm that is harder to hold on to than anger. "They're children, Vanessa. They're just playing." Vanessa took 2 steps toward Claudia. "You're paid to clean and cook, not to raise Raphael's daughters. Is that clear?" "It's clear," Claudia answered without moving a muscle. "But while Mr. Raphael is away, someone needs to look after their well-being." "Well-being," Vanessa repeated, as if the word itself amused her. Wow, a maid who talks like that. In the monitoring room, Raphael stood up. What happened next he saw through the hallway camera in the north wing. Vanessa had left the girls and gone straight to the master bedroom. She opened Raphael's closet. Then she opened the jewelry safe inside it. She took out an emerald bracelet, a wedding gift that had belonged to Sonia. She wrapped it in a satin scarf from the drawer and walked out of the room. Raphael followed her on the camera feed. Vanessa did not go to the living room. She did not go to the kitchen. She went to Claudia's small room in the staff quarters. She stepped inside, looked around, opened the small suitcase under the bed, and slipped the bracelet between the folded clothes. Raphael stared at the screen for several long seconds. 4 years hearing about Claudia's honesty and discretion. 2 years with Vanessa by his side. 1 month of carefully planted doubts. 3 weeks before deciding to install cameras inside his own house, as if everyone in it were a suspect. And in the end, the only thing the cameras truly caught was the betrayal of the woman he was about to call his wife. He left the monitoring room through the same silent hallway. When he entered the main living room, the girls came running down the stairs and almost crashed into him. "Daddy!" Isabella hugged him around the waist. Letitia grabbed onto him too. 2 little whirlwinds, 6 and 8 years old, too young to understand they were healing one of the hardest things for an adult to heal, the shame of having been wrong. Raphael held both of them tightly. Then he looked over their heads. Claudia was standing at the top of the staircase, looking at him with the expression of someone who didn't know whether she should ask questions. Vanessa came out of the bedroom right behind her. The moment she saw Raphael, she froze. "You're back?" "I missed the flight," he said. She smiled, that same smile as before, controlled, elegant. "Well, that's good. We could have dinner together." Raphael gently lowered the girls from his arms. "Before dinner, I need to talk to you." He pulled out his phone, opened the video, and turned the screen toward Vanessa. She watched for 13 seconds, then stopped. "This isn't what it looks like," she whispered. "It is exactly what it looks like," Raphael said. "I was doing it for you. I needed proof that she couldn't be trusted. You planted evidence in her suitcase." Claudia was standing at the end of the hallway, still not fully understanding what was happening. Isabella looked at Claudia, then at her father, then at Vanessa. Did Vanessa do something bad? Children know before adults do. Raphael crouched down to the girl's eye level. "Claudia's not going anywhere," he said first. The girls looked at Claudia. "And Vanessa?" Letitia asked. Raphael looked up. Vanessa was already holding her purse. Her chin was raised, her posture stiff, like someone about to say something meant to wound, even though deep down she already knew she had lost. "You're going to regret this," she said. "I already do," Raphael replied, "but not for asking you to leave." The front gates of the estate closed at 11:08 p.m. Later that same night, with the girls already asleep, Raphael found Claudia in the kitchen, putting away the dishes. "Did you know what she was trying to do?" Claudia stayed quiet for a moment. "I suspected it," she answered without any pride. "But I wasn't going to say anything without proof. And without proof, who would you have believed? Your elegant fiancé or the maid?" Raphael said nothing. "My mother taught me something," Claudia said. "Getting angry at reality doesn't change reality. You do the right thing. You wait and the truth shows up. Raphael looked down the dark hallway where his daughters were sleeping. They call you by your name. That's how they know me. Sonia asked for it. Claudia raised her eyes. Mrs. Sonia called me into this kitchen one day before she got sick. She said, Claudia, if one day I'm not here anymore, take care of them for me, not as an employee, as someone who truly cares. Raphael felt his jaw lock. You never told me that. I wasn't supposed to. It was a promise between women. He stayed quiet for a long time. Thank you, he finally said. Claudia dried her hands on the dish towel. Thank you isn't necessary. I'm only doing what anyone with a heart would do. That night, Rafael Montero sat in the dark hallway outside his daughter's bedroom. From inside he could hear the sound of their breathing, soft, steady, the sound of children who feel safe. He thought of Sonia. He thought of how 2 years of grief had turned into 2 years of distance. He thought of how many dinners he had traded for work, how many weekends he had handed over to his phone. And he thought about the fact that the woman he was about to bring into his home as his wife had spent weeks trying to destroy the only stable foundation his daughters still had. Not because she was reckless enough to admit it, but because she was clever enough to hide it, at least until the cameras. Today, 2 years later, Claudia's room at the Montero estate is no longer the tiny staff room at the back of the hallway. It is a bedroom in the east wing, with a window overlooking the garden Sonia planted. Isabella and Letitia still call her by her name, but when someone asks who takes care of them, both girls give the same answer. Claudia. No further explanation. Nothing more. As if her name alone says everything that needs to be said. And the emerald bracelet is back in the safe where it always belonged, exactly where it should be. Have you ever underestimated someone because of their appearance or their position? Write it in the comments. What was the most powerful moment in this story for you? Share this with someone who needs to see that true character reveals itself when the cameras are off or when people think they are. Leave a like if you believe the truth always comes to light.